Dance is the culmination of a space-themed project by Year 5 and 6 pupils at Kingsholm School in Gloucester. 4 years ago, staff at school made the bold step of creating a new curriculum based entirely on themed, integrated, cross-curricular projects. By following 2 of the school's current themes, this programme will show some of the things Kingsholm have done to teach in this different way.
I definitely heard something then. Did you hear it? Shh, shh. I can hear it again.
The decision to move from teaching discrete subjects to themed projects originated from staff concerns about standards of literacy in the school.
The staff knew that what we were providing wasn't really making any difference to the children. So they wanted something new and something different. And I think because I allowed them the opportunity to take risks, they then went for it wholesale, whole staff, which was superb. Everybody on board together. Everybody's sharing ideas and thoughts to make the learning experiences far more meaningful for our children.
The school decided to have one person oversee the creation of the new curriculum. This responsibility was taken on by Deputy Head Teacher Rachel Howie.
I couldn't understand how we could have something so exciting, so innovative, so experiential, yet for me to have the paperwork for Ofsted, because at that time that was all that was on my mind. I'm going to be in the firing line when Ofsted come in. They're going to ask me, do we cover everything? Do we tick all the boxes? And I thought I couldn't marry those 2 concepts together.
I think one of the hardest things has been for some teachers to let go, to realise that they can approach things in a different way. And it's just giving those teachers the support and guidance to say, yes, you can.
To alleviate these initial fears, one of the first things Rachel did was get staff off-site for a brainstorming session.
Sometimes when you're in school it's very difficult to think outside the nitty-gritty everyday stuff. And we just sat down as a group of teachers and thought about what it was we would like to teach instead of what it is we have to teach. We then took the national curriculum and we simply hacked it up. We looked at history, geography and science, and we allocated each theme had part of the history, geography and science. And it was amazing how much actually fit very comfortably within the themes we wanted to teach.
One of the early themes used local resources as its focus. Places such as the city's cathedral and Beatrix Potter Museum form the basis of a Year 2 project called Off to Gloucester.
It's key that we're able to access resources in the local area. We want to teach them things that they can learn within their own setting and then apply it in other settings.
Becky has focused on local historical figures. To bring them to life, she's built a magic postbox, allowing the children to exchange letters with people such as Dick Whittington.
Let's have a look. Oh, it does look old. Do you remember how careful we had to be with the letter from Dick Whittington? The postbox appeared over a weekend, so the children don't know how it arrived and how it came about. And then we received letters from people who lived in the past to make that link with them. Chronology is very difficult for children, but that helped.
It's got something inside, just like when Dick Whittington said. Oh, it's a picture!
Oh,
Picture.
we'll look at those in a moment.
Right, now if Beatrix Potter came to Gloucester on holiday, what might she have visited? Where might she have been? Tell your talking partner.
The work today was really based on how Gloucester has changed as a city, and we went to the records office and got some really good quality old photographs of Gloucester from the time when Beatrix Potter would have visited, and we then took some photographs of the exact same places so that we could compare those 2 photographs.
You could send me some photographs of the places I saw. Yours, what's that special word? Faithfully, Beatrix Potter.
Using what's on your doorstep can of course be a great starting point, but with a little imagination you can reach any destination. Deputy Head Teacher Rachel is also a Year 5 and 6 teacher. She's been teaching a space-based theme for the last 3 years. It's been taught differently each time after a yearly review and evaluation.
The first year it was taught, it was called Earth and Beyond. the children chose that title. This year it's called One Small Step because the children are absolutely fascinated with moonwalking and Neil Armstrong and landing a man on the moon. So we very much take it how the children want it to go. We have in our minds what we want to teach them, but we also ask them what they want to know.
The children's questions about space have been incorporated alongside national curriculum requirements into a curriculum plan. And this isn't the only thing they've had input into.
Creating the classroom environments is one of the most important things for us. And we involve the children. We really want the children to walk into their classroom and think, wow, this is a great place to learn. This really inspires me. I want to learn about Earth and beyond. I want to learn about space. They wanted the door of the classroom to look like a rocket. They wanted the classroom to be painted black. They wanted the planets to hang on the ceiling. So when you walk in to our Year 5-6 classrooms, you feel that's what you're going to be learning about.
In today's lesson, Rachel's working with her focus group to write a moon-themed poem.
We're going to write a group poem, and we're going to write it with moon rocks, and we're going to write it in space. This is our space, these are our moon rocks, we're going to write on them, and then we're going to create a living poem. So are you ready? Make sure you're comfy, make sure you can see.
Adding further to the mood, Rachel's created a slideshow of space images and combined them with music to inspire the children to think of lines for the poem.
Has anyone got an idea? Thea?
Supported by a cloud of mist.
James?
The moon breaking through the clouds.
The moon breaking through the clouds. What sort of moon?
Like the moon trying to get through the clouds because sometimes it's misty.
In the group that I was working with this afternoon, there are a number of really reluctant writers, and faced with the prospect of writing poetry, pencil, pen and book, they find it very intimidating.
What does it say? You want me to put them in order? A pebble bigger than it.
I try to make writing as practical as possible and try to use as many and very different ways of stimulating them as possible.
Place. Where's place? Is that it? There. Yeah, place. In the night sky.
While this group continue with the moon rock poem, other groups in the class are able to work independently on other projects linked to space. There's some DT making moon buggies, RE looking at the creation story, and ICT making a travel brochure to the moon.
I think the children learn so much more from cross-curricular links where they can learn skills and apply them in all subjects. Learning becomes much more meaningful to the children.
At the end of the lesson, it's time to premiere the moon rock poem to the rest of the class.
Very excited. Okay, it's called Magical Secrets of the Moon. Supported by a cloud of swirling mist, the earth disappearing into blackness behind you. We're going to display it in the library so that other children can come and move pebbles around, so it's a real living piece of poetry.
One thing King's Home have developed over the last 4 years is to end each theme with a series of events to celebrate the children's work.
Our exciting event for One Small Step is going to be a dance share for the parents, where the children will share their dances that they've created, and we're going to have a space disco and fashion show where the children wear the costumes that they have created. So it should be really exciting.
Today the class are putting the final touches to their dance routine based on the moon landing, with Rachel's fellow year group teacher, Corinne Devereaux.
First, I believe that this nation should commit itself to achieving the goal.
Like many other aspects of the project, the children's own ideas lead the way.
Right, vote for touching feet. Yeah, okay. No, I want to touch feet. Or fine, do it heads. Yes, who wants to be good? I want to be an astronaut. I want to be an astronaut. Guys, this is a screwdriver. Pass me. Oh, he gave me that conk.
The detailed planning for such complex cross-curricular themed units is seen as best done by sharing the workload with other members of staff. At King's Home, the One Small Step theme has been planned by Rachel and 3 other teachers. They meet once a week after school to plan the project's direction.
The biggest thing for us, because there's 4 of us, it's not onerous when we plan, because we each do a bit, we bring it, we discuss it, and then we each have our work to do to share with one another. Because it's quite daunting planning the thematic curriculum, because there's so much to do and it's so exciting. We've got so many ideas and we kind of keep each other's feet on the ground, really.
If something's happened in the news, then we might change, although we've got the critical path, we might change the planning and say, right, let's focus on that at the moment. Or somebody can come up with an idea or see something in a magazine or see something in a feature and say, we're going to go with that instead of what we'd originally built on from the original planning ideas.
Sometimes the problem can be that we are so excited and we get so many ideas, and you have to start cutting things down and saying, I think what we've always said is we want to do less but better and do really high quality work but less of it. That's been our focus.
In this meeting, Rachel's giving feedback on the space poetry session from earlier in the day.
And then they wrote the words on pebbles, and I put the pebbles on a black piece of velvet, and that was our writing space. And then I just asked somebody, could they come up with the first line, and loads of them could.
Would it work? Idea. Get the video camera, slowly run the camcorder over the top.
Of the poem?
Of the poem, of the pebbles. So you've actually got it on film. We can then download it onto the laptop, put the music in the background, and then everything's come back together again, isn't it?
Sharing the planning is a way of finding out about new resources available to use in lessons. Kevin's found a piece of imaging software which he thinks may be useful for an upcoming lesson on using aerial photos.
Nice one. Which is cool, because we can start looking at the shape and everything. Tells us where London is, and then it zooms straight in to Gloucester. And you can then pull back out.
That's right in.
So there's King's Home. Yeah? And we can
That's
pull it.
Fantastic. That's brilliant.
For me as a teacher, it's really exciting to plan. It allows me to do the things that I've really wanted to do but felt constrained to do perhaps before. We've got to be careful though not to do too much with it, because there are endless opportunities, aren't there? We need to really be specific about what we want to get from it.
But it's aerial photos, isn't it?
And
I think
satellite imaging.
But this isn't, well, yeah. We could take this into satellite imaging.
It's really made our planning more vibrant. It's really focused us. It's allowed us to put the learning into a context, so it's really allowed the children's learning to reach its full potential.
It's the day of the dance performance and the end of the One Small Step project. The theme will now be reviewed and evaluated before it's taught again next year. As this project ends, what do the staff think about this approach 4 years down the line, and what advice would they pass on to teachers wanting to do the same?
I think it's teach the things you enjoy teaching, work to your strengths, and think about your children, your setting and your locality. What can you use in your locality for the benefit of the children?
One of the things that my staff have particularly liked about this approach is the ownership. But for me to watch them have that love for teaching again, to be able to lead the teaching again in the way that they want and feel comfortable in, has been tremendous.